Hola Hispanes, me llamo Galilea Duran y bienvenidos a SOMOS Podcast, un podcast donde celebramos la comunidad hispana en Sacramento State. Hoy tenemos el privilegio de entrevistar a Jamarie Crawford, un estudiante aquí en Sac State. Hola Jamarie, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, estoy muy bien. ¿Y tú cómo estás?
Bien, gracias por estar con nosotros.
Claro.
Comencemos, así que ¿nos puedes contar un poco de tu historia, tu infancia, cómo creciste?
Sí, pues yo nací en Merced, pero crecí en Stockton y también hace tiempo en Texas también.
Oh, wow.
So had that little both there in Texas and in Stockton, and I wanted to sort of explain my sort of my background a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people get confused
Okay.
about that, right? So soy latino, soy mexicano, soy guatemalteco. Tengo familia de Guatemala, de México. Pero the reason why I have like a very, very different name that isn't like Latino is because very interesting family history.
Okay.
I don't know if I could say it on here, but very family interesting history, family history. And long story short, like my dad isn't in my life, right?
Oh.
And so he's Mexican, right? And so when I was born, what is it called? Like he had no say in like what my name
Your
would be.
name and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where that influence doesn't really. It's like you're Latino, but you don't have like a Latino first name, last name, nothing, ni nada. But it's just like, I am, but yeah. So I grew up very good, a nice family, and yeah, I grew up good, nice family. I have family in Modesto, so when I go to Modesto, I have Guatemalan family in Modesto. So growing up, I would go there, and they would have like mariachi, they would have taqueros, they would have like todo eso, and so, and also growing up, I had an uncle who always played like a reggaeton and like like songs like that when I was growing up.
Yeah.
So I always got that Latino side of me, always growing up. So yeah.
And how has your educational journey been here at Sac State? Has there been anything that influenced you here?
My educational journey here, it's been amazing, I would say.
Okay.
Coming from high school to here, it is obviously a very big difference, like a big change, because you're not used to so much freedom that that you don't have in high school as much as you do in college. So it's been good taking classes that are very different from things that I've never taken, such as like anthropology, for example, or history, the type of history that is taught here. But it's been very good overall.
And what are some challenges you have faced as a Latin student, and how have you overcome them?
In college or just in general?
In general.
In general, one of the biggest challenges I faced as a Latino student was in high school, where it was my junior year or senior year, where on the announcements, they have daily announcements at our school.
Right.
So they would announce like whatever's happening for the week, and they would always speak Spanish. Pero no pueden hablar español because they're like gringos or like whatever. And so I remember one day where a lot of people in my like either class or like hearing around, they didn't like the way that they spoke Spanish because, like I said, like the gringo, they couldn't speak Spanish, whatever. So I went and I said, hey, I'm Mexican, I'm Latino, I can speak Spanish. Not the best ever, but I can speak Spanish better than you guys can, right? And they were like, no, you can't speak Spanish because you're not part of student government, right?
Oh.
And I was like, okay. So I went to the advisor and I said, hey, this is happening. This is what people are saying. Right. They don't like the way they speak Spanish on the announcements because they don't speak it right, or they're butchering the words, like etc. Y pues también me dijo que like you cannot speak Spanish because if we allow you to speak Spanish, we have to allow the Koreans to speak their language. We have to allow the Punjabi to speak their language. We have to allow the Indians to speak their language.
Okay.
And I was like, what's wrong with that? And so after hearing that response, I gathered a whole bunch of like people, not only in my school but in the community and the principal too, to be able to not rally against it but speak out against it. So like complaining to the principal about it and speaking to her about the situation. And 2 weeks later, I was speaking Spanish on the announcements because I think that it's important, that we have that representation. So that's just one of the biggest things that I have had to face as a Latino student is, you can't speak Spanish. Even though the high school I went to, McClatchy, is like, I want to say 70-60% Latino.
Exactly.
And it's like yet we're so big, a number in the school, yet the lack of representation is crazy. So I was a bulldozer for being able to get not only like my club Hispanics but Latinos seen at our school. So
wow, that's so crazy because actually something similar happened to me, but it was my sophomore year because sophomore year that time was fully online, but like the last 4 months we were able to go back in school. And I remember I was part of like the school news, and I told my advisor for the school news, I was like, oh, like we should start doing announcements because at freshman year they were doing them, like we could do them. So then I went up to the office, coordinated, nothing was wrong because during that time I wasn't part of ASB. And once they found out, they were like, oh, no, we're supposed to do this. And then I was like, okay, how can we work it through? And then the principal was like, oh, because in my school, it's usually like the ASB president does them. But she didn't know Spanish. So my principal was like, okay, she could do them in English and you could do it in Spanish. And she was, I don't know if she didn't like the idea, but she was like, oh, actually, she could do it by herself. So it was definitely, but I never got that response where it was like, oh, then we have to include everybody else. Yeah. Which that's kind of weird because it should be the inclusivity, like the majority. Yeah. But yeah, crazy that we went through the same thing.
Interesting, yeah.
I know. Are you part of any clubs or organizations here on campus?
I am. I'm only part of one organization on campus, which is Mecha. Oh. But outside of campus, I'm part of other organizations as well. But on campus, Mecha.
And can you tell us a little bit about Mecha?
Yes, Mecha is a Chicano organization born out of the 70s, born out of the civil rights movement in the 70s. And so it is dedicated to fighting for Chicanismo, for Latinos, for student rights. And Mecha was a part of, but not responsible for, being able to get being able to get students' rights in school. So being able to speak Spanish, being able to learn your culture, not of the European way, but of like taught the real history of like Latinos in the United States and etc. So that's Mecha.
Okay, and what's your role in Mecha?
I am the political chair for Mecha. So anything that has to do with politics surrounding Latinos, surrounding Chicanos, I'm responsible for bringing that information back and figuring out ways in which we can combat these issues or address those issues. So that can be in the form of a protest, a form of a workshop, getting meetings with people who are in power that we can advocate on our behalf to them so that they can advocate for us either in the state level or in the city level, etc.
And what are your current goals working toward that? Or do you hope to make an impact not only with Sac State, but like larger Latin community?
My goal in this role, I would say is to make everyone know what Mecha is, which is something that is already happening, where Mecha is getting a lot of traction. A lot of people are mentioning Mecha, a lot of people are talking about Mecha, and that's one of the goals that I have, is being able to get people, Latinos who are not involved politically, to get them involved politically, because a lot, especially now, I think it's very important for everyone to be politically aware about what is happening. And I think that for Mecha, another goal would be to get whoever is involved in Mecha a part of Mecha involved with other, getting them connected.
Okay.
So that they can have that sort of power as well, so that they can become their own advocate and their own activist, etc. So, yeah.
And may I ask, are you a first gen?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And who have you relied when it comes to like mentorship or just any type of support?
My family, my friends, some of my friends and family, not all. And I say that because I don't really have anyone in my life as of right now. Well, actually, I guess I do, but I don't. I'm still getting comfortable with the fact that I have people in the academic space who I can go to and talk to about certain things. I'm not used to that. I've never been used to that, but in terms of what I've always done, I've always gone to like friends or family if I needed advice about anything. But being here at Sac State, it has opened up a kind of worms where I can go to people on campus who I can talk to about anything, and I can be heard and be seen, but also have that advice and work through anything that I'm going through.
And you are a political science major here at Sac State.
Yes.
What are you hoping to do with that? I'm
hoping to run for office.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. Like any like local or more bigger?
I have to start off locally. So school board, city council, and then from there state level. So either assembly member or senator, and then from there Congress, and then whatever. After.
Wow. So big goals there, definitely.
Big goals, yes. I'm already off to a good start just because I'm part of an organization called Stonewall Democrats. And so Stonewall Democrats is a very big organization in Sacramento politically, and so I was the first youngest Latino to be elected to the organization, because the organization is comprised of people who are much older, so like in the 30s and 40s and 50s, even 60s sometimes. And so to be the youngest person, Latino person, to be elected to that position is a big deal, because you don't see that. And so I believe that me along with other people can be able to make change and becoming like the Gen Zers coming into office and coming to lead these spaces and making a difference and becoming the first the youngest people elected to these different positions. So.
Well, being part of the political world where unfortunately we don't see many Latinos, how do you stay connected to your Latin community?
By showing up to different events. I think that's the biggest thing, is showing up to anything that has to do with your culture. Obviously I cannot make it to every single thing, but showing up to the events, making friends in those events and staying connected with them, reaching out, if there's something going on, invite them to whatever it is. I love bailes, I love dancing, so I'm always at the bailes. I'm always celebrating cultura, like with my friends. And so I think staying connected is just showing up, never being afraid to embrace who you are, wherever you are. Yeah.
All right. And once you graduate and people look back at your time here at Sac State, what impact do you hope they remember?
I hope that they remember that as someone who did their best to make change in the best way that I possibly could. That's the biggest thing for me, is knowing that I'm doing the best I can, and having someone who, I won't say I had a difficult life, but someone who went through a lot of stuff was able to get here now and am still able to make progress and changing spaces in a good way and bringing community and bringing light to certain things. And so I think that's what I would want to be remembered for here at Sac State, is sort of trailblazer or someone who did a lot of work to be able to improve the community here at Sac State.
And what victory, whether big or small, do you look back at and you're like the most proud of?
I have a lot.
Okay.
I think one is working with Dolores Huerta. So I worked with her back in 2023, and then back September and this year. So in 2023, I testified for SB 274, which was a bill that essentially protected student rights from K through 12. And so I was able to work not only with a senator, but also with Dolores Huerta. And so I'm like right here, she's right here, and we're just like testifying. We're talking to each other. She's giving me advice, and that bill that we testified together on got passed in 2023, and it's now state law. So that's one thing that I'm very proud of, is being able to work with her. And then recently, I was kind of her like right-hand man, if that makes sense. Like I was helping her with whatever she needed, but also like kind of protecting her from the crowd, because we had an event in September, the Latino Book and Family Festival that I helped plan, and as one of the guest speakers, we had her, and so a lot of people came just to see her, and it's a challenge when you have a celebrity like that, someone who has made like amazing impact, and a lot of people are coming to see her, and it's like, oh, okay, not everyone can get an autograph, not everyone can get a picture, so it's like kind of like protecting her a little bit. But during that time, it's amazing because she gave me a lot of good advice, and she gave me a lot of like powerful words that stuck with me, to keep me motivated to keep going.
And lastly, what advice would you give to other young Latin students who are trying to find their voice and wanting to get involved politically?
Join organizations that have your values and your beliefs. Get connected. I think that's the biggest thing, is get connected. Know who to get connected with, because once you find someone who is connected and you're able to have that person help you out with your journey and becoming your own advocate, becoming your activist, it helps a lot. But also being able to make your own way in different organizations or wherever. Stay true to yourself is the biggest thing. Don't ever let anyone tell you you can't do it, or you can't wear this, or you can't do that, you can't say this. Like if you're in that sort of position, just back away and say no, because you don't ever want to be censored by anyone. But yeah, to be able to, and for any Latino who wants to get involved, join an organization that has your values, that has your belief, that is centered around, Latinos like Mecha, or like Latinx Condemns, that are involved politically in the community, but also always bring it back to your cultura. So.
Bueno, pues muchas gracias por estar aquí con nosotros.
Gracias.
Esto fue todo por hoy. Hasta la próxima.
Hasta la próxima.